Okay, today we're going to talk about the lathe. This is we have 6 of these in the shop, and so this is where we're going to start. Now, every one of these lathes has a guard here, and it also has a guard here, and it will not turn on the spindle if the guard is not down. First of all, I'm going to take this guard off only because it will make it easier to see. Other than for demonstration purposes, like right now, this guard will not be coming off. It is came from the manufacturer on there, and so it needs to stay on there as a safety device. So, now that I've taken it off, you can see some things here clearly, and I'm going to kind of focus in on them. Keep that there. Let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, let's go there. All right, so this handle here controls longitudinal movement, left to right, which on a lathe is considered the Z-axis. Why do I tell you about Z-axis, X-axis, cross-line, blah, blah, blah? Because, like the mill, we have a digital readout, okay? Digital readout, this is the Z-axis. On this machine, I can also move into other directions. Let's come in. Now in this video, I'm just going to get us acquainted with the parts of the machine that we're going to use to get us going here. So, the part that goes across, this handle right here, is called the cross slide. It moves perpendicular to the Z-axis. Come back out a little bit. So it's perpendicular to this. So this goes left and right. This goes in and out. So I would use this to go across the end of the part, and I would use this to go across the outside length of the part. Now, I'm probably saying, okay, so Bart's, what's with this one? Well, this is called the compound slide. So cross slide. These long bars are called the ways. Okay, that runs the length of the bed. The ways. They're V-notched. When I show some from top videos, you'll be able to see. And so this whole thing's called a saddle. Like think of a saddle on a horse. It rides on the back of the ways. And so longitudinally, left to right, Z-axis, the carriage rides on the ways. Carriage, saddle, it saddles it, and this is the carriage. Cross slide, compound slide. Because I can loosen these bolts up, I can rotate this. It's on an angle right now. And then when I turn this handle, get out of the way. When I turn this handle, it moves this upper piece on the angle. So I can set this to any angle I want and cut on an angle. Okay, so that's how I can put an angle on something. This thing here is called my tool post. It's a quick change tool post for my quick change tools. Let's see if I can get that. So we store our tools up top here. I made this handy dandy little rack. So I have 2 tools. And these tools, they have a dovetail that fits on here. So if I put this one on here, so I put the handle that way to loose, put the handle here, pull it this way to tighten it. Now, we'll get into orientation of tools and all that later. I just want you to get the handle of, or the idea, when I take the tool, it goes on here. Now, it rests on the top of this disc, this top edge here. Okay, so I want to make sure it's clean there and clean on the top before I set it down, because if this tool is too high or too low, it doesn't cut right. Again, I'll get into better detail with that. So I lock it, and I'm ready to go. Okay, well, with the tool. So this again. Compound slide, cross slide, carriage. Okay? This is my emergency stop button to turn it off. And hidden under here, and I'll show you this later when we get to working on things, is the on-off lever, right there. Okay? We always lift it up to get the spindle to come towards us, which is the direction we want. So now I want to move down a little bit closer to the front of the machine. Because on the front of the machine here, there are, quite a few handles. So let me walk in front here. So down here, this is the chuck. The chuck is where I put my part in these chuck jaws. I tighten it up. It holds the part. My part spins. Unlike the mill, on the mill, the tool spins. On here, the tool is stationary and the part spins. I still have to calculate my RPMs. I calculate them in the same manner as the mill, 3.82 times my cutting speed divided by the diameter. Only this, instead of the diameter of the cutter, I'm looking at the diameter of the workpiece that I'm cutting. Okay? So these handles over here, there's kind of like two groups. Okay? One group deals with the speed, or the RPM, and the other group deals with the feed. So feed rate, to begin with, we're not going to worry about how to make all them levers work, because we're working with little small pieces, and when you're working close to the chuck with the cutter, if you're on power feed and you don't stop fast enough, it crashes, and it's a bad day for a lot of reasons. Hopefully you're safe, which so far we've been good with that, but it has caused work for me, and I hate tearing apart the machine and trying to figure out how to make it work again. So, we'll look at this chart. You can see it pretty good. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Unlike the mill, it's not a variable head. So what that means is I have gears. And in order to get a certain RPM, I have to pick that gear. So let's say I needed to have 800 RPM, because I did my math, boom, 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 800 RPM. You look at my chart, there is no 800 RPM. So I'm going to look at which is the closest to 800. Well, I got 660, so that's 140 difference. 800 to the next highest one here, 1075, is almost 300. So 660 is definitely closer. 660 here is definitely closer. So that means I have to put my levers in 2C. That's how I do it. It's just like a chart. 660, C2. Okay? So, I'm looking for ABC, 1, 2, 3. So this here, I have D, E, F. Well, let me put this a little bit farther this way so you can see some more of them. There we go. See a few more letters. Okay? Let me fine-tune this pinch. All right. So, ABC, 1, 2, 3. This is D, E, F, G. That actually goes with the chart down below for the feed. So that's not what we want. This has some squiggly lines this way, that way. That's for the feed direction. We'll worry about that another time. Oh, there it is. 1, 2, 3. And then I see over here A, C, B. I don't know why C's in the middle. That's kind of odd. It's about gears and the size of the gears and how they interlock in order to get that RPM. So in order to get C2, C and 2, there's a little bit of a trick. If you remember on the mill, I said when you want to, let me zoom back up a little bit. When you want to change from high gear to low gear, that you need to make sure the spindle is off, and you have to rotate the spindle. And that's the same thing here. You got to rotate this. So I grab on the jaws and I pull it towards me. Never stick anything in any of these holes to try and turn it. These things are for alignment and stuff like that, so you don't do that. So just grab it here. Okay? So, the lower the RPM, the harder this is to turn. Okay? So if I go C, and let's say I'm already in 1, I can't turn this, and I'm fairly strong. Okay? So I like to say, you know, if you're not sure, go to C first. Now I got to turn this. I can do this. Hear the gears. If it's making some noise, it's in between gears. And actually and honestly, you need to get down eyeball level with this handle to C. And I can tell you, looking at it here, I'm in between. But if I was standing up here, looks like it's already in A. It's not. So I'm going to go into C. Hear the grinding? That's not in gear. Now it's in B1, still too hard. So if I turn this up to 2, it's much easier to turn. So a lot of times I'll put the number first to where I want to go, unless it's 1. I stay away from 1. But I put it in 2, I go to the letter, C, all the way down there's A. Sometimes you have to go back and forth a few times up to get it. Oh, I'm in 3. I forgot to squat down. Okay? Well, you can see it on the camera, it's 3, but I couldn't because I was standing up. Now this one pivots out in order to rotate. Again, when I'm turning. When it's in a gear, this face is parallel to the face. If it's in between gears, this is not parallel. That's kind of a clue to let you know it's not in gear. What will happen when you turn the spindle on and it's not in gear? It's either A, going to grind gears, make a lot of noise, everyone's going to come running over, see what you're doing, or it's not going to move. If it doesn't move or grinds gears, immediately turn it off. But make sure this is parallel. So I'm going to go squat down. Now it's in 2. Now it's in C. Now I'm in my right gear. Okay, so this is how I go about changing gears. Okay? So I'm going to turn the machine on, and I'm going to show you how to turn the spindle on to make it go. So around the back of the machine, right back here. It's on the back of the machine, you're not going to see it anyways, but around the back of the machine, there's a little dial switch. Rotate it, and the light comes on. So far, knock on wood, I haven't had any light bulbs burn out. Hope they don't. So let me rotate this a little bit. Come in a little bit. All right. So I'm in the right gears now. And if I want to turn it on, yeah, better go out. So, this garage, I never want to turn the spindle on, really don't want to turn the spindle on when this is close. If somebody left this engaged and the feed on, which is this lever, okay, it's going to immediately take off. And it's going to smash into the chuck. Okay? So, it is best, especially when you're trying to get your RPM set, making sure everything's right, is get this about halfway down. Then we know it's safe. Okay? And also, you're not jammed in here trying to do this with this in the way and getting yourself hurt. Okay? Let me zoom back in a little bit. No, don't want to. I've got to show you this. I think you saw it. I'm not positive. I'm going to come back in just for see if you can see it. No, you can't. I'm going to swing this around here so we can change our angle a little bit. Okay, so right down here underneath is the switch. You got to kind of, it's a lever. It's got like a shroud around it. You pull it out, and then you're able to lift it up or down. We go up. But I'm going to move this back a little bit because I don't want it so close, like I said. But I want to make sure you can see this lever. So if I turn this up, it should go on. But it doesn't. It doesn't because the guard isn't down. So make sure that it's in back off, which is in the middle. Come over here and close the guard. Now, we don't want to slam this guard. It's finicky. It's got some cheap bearings on it. That's the way that it came. I've replaced them several times. But there's this little switch up here that when you rotate it, it gets in a little groove, okay, and which extends the switch, which says the guard is down. Okay? And when the guard is down, we now will be able to turn it on. Oh, emergency stop button. I pushed that before. If the emergency stop on, it doesn't matter. So turn it back off. The switch, there's an arrow on it. You rotate it. It comes out. I heard the solenoid switch, so now it should go on. Turn it on and turn it off real quick just to make sure. Yeah, there we go. So, there it is spinning. It's on. I can turn it off. Okay, so that's the process. Now, if I don't want this to be able to go on again, always put this guard up, and then I'm good to go. If you want to be double sure, you can power off. But most people come in after the fact, don't remember. So if the machine doesn't go on, make sure this is in the middle position. Turn off the emergency stop. Close the guard. It should work. All right, that ought to get us going, get you started, get you a little bit familiar. We're going to start with practicing how to set the different gears.